Hello everybody, Jason up, New Age Revolution Cave. It is a Sunday, it is a cold, windy Sunday, and it is time for the Power Hour, folks. That's right, your chance to be a part of the show, ask questions, hard-hitting, as you will see today. Softballs, like what's your favorite soda? I'll answer them all, folks, as uncensored as I can, upsetting the masses, I assume. If you want to get your questions in, there's multiple ways to do that. You can email them to me at jasonnup76@gmail.com or at TN80sR or do the Facebook thing and send me a message and be my friend on Facebook. And I never post anything and I'll never chat with you. No, that's not true. I just don't post anything. Power Hour from my friend Bale. My friend Bale, he sent 7 questions, and I think we're only going to do 2 of them today because they're heavy. 5 of them are softballs to a degree, but question 1 and question 7 are really intense and really hard-hitting, and I think potentially my answers might offend. They might offend some, which is part of the problem, right? Because his question is, why do you think society is so awful these days? Folks, I had a whole thing planned, and I may have even recorded some footage and then decided not to upload it because I think I said too much. So I'm going to simplify it for you. Why do I think society is so awful? Because we don't like each other. We don't like each other. At no point, I think, in life have we ever been so different or had the opportunity to be different, right, from each other. At no point have we ever been less cookie cutter, right? We can list differences that never existed before, or we didn't care about before, or whatever. We're just different. We are different now than we have ever been, and you know what? We can't handle those differences. For whatever reason, we don't like those differences. It leads to argument, and it leads to hate. I think that's why we are so awful today as a society, because we have not been able to figure out how to mind our own business and let people be themselves. I think that's it in a nutshell. Politically, we're a mess. We're an absolute disaster politically. I don't think at any point, now I've only been alive for 47 years, but I don't think at any point in time have we been this, in modern times, folks. I'm sure back in, Civil War days, we had some disagreements that led to war about presidents or whatever, but in modern times, I don't think we've ever been this divided politically. I think that leads to an awful society. And I'm not a political person, folks, so I'm not sitting here this bleeding heart liberal or this staunch conservative. I'm neither. But I think a lot of us are, and for whatever reason, we are willing during this particular era to fight to the death about our political viewpoints. We are pushing our political viewpoints onto others. I drove down the street the other day, a side street out here, and there was a duplex. You know what a duplex is, right? It's a big house it's broken up into 2 apartments. You live side by side. Well, there's a porch that separates the 2 with kind of a wall, not really a wall, it's a see-through wall. And person A had their entire house decorated with pro-Trump flags and don't tread on me stuff and all lives matter and that kind of thing. He was pushing his agenda. The neighbor right next to him, the duplex neighbor, had the gay pride flag, the Biden flag, the all lives matter, Black Lives Matter, this guy had the pro-police flag, this guy over, I don't know what so could you imagine that life for both of them, that they have to live like that and they have to share that house and just have these dueling flags, just fighting each other on the porch? What a miserable existence that must be. Our opinions have invaded the lives of others, folks. Our opinions have loudly and aggressively invaded the lives of people who never even asked, people who just kept their heads down and got thrust right in their face. If they spoke out against it, it's likely an argument or even an assault happened as a result. We don't accept anybody. We don't like anybody. We don't care about anybody anymore. We're not friendly towards anybody anymore if they are different than us. And you know what? Even if they're the exact same as us, we're going to find a reason to hate them too. So don't worry about it. We're going to hate everyone. I don't think we look out for other people's feelings anymore. I don't think we're worried about the well-being of other people anymore. I mean, I can understand we're in a particular time where we have to look out for ourselves. It's not easy existing in this world. It's expensive. We've got to pay our mortgage. We have to pay our bills. We have to feed our children. So I can understand being focused on ourselves. But we've also, a lot of us have just given up the interest in caring about anybody else. We are angry at people. We are angry at who people choose to be. And that anger leads to confrontation and leads to hatred and leads to aggression and leads to an awful society. We're angry at people's differences. We're angry about who people choose to have sex with. We're angry at what people identify themselves as far as a gender. We're angry at races that don't look like us. We're angry if you support a football team and you're playing my football team in the playoffs. Well, I hate you, and there's a pretty good chance that we have some kind of physical altercation outside the stadium, and one of us is going to end up dead because you cheered for the other football team. That's pathetic. Folks, that's why we live in an awful society, because you can't go to a football team and wear the opposing team's colors because you might get killed. Not just heckled. That's annoying enough. You might get killed. That's who we are. That's who we've become. Really? So differences. We hate differences. We hate anybody who's not like us, and we hate people who are like us as also. We hate people who are just like us too. I don't have my life in order. I have things to worry about in my own home. Very severe things, potentially disastrous things I have to manage in my own home. Why would I feel like I could now go out and protest or aggressively confront somebody because they're living their life? I haven't gotten my stuff in order yet. I don't have the time to go hate somebody else because of who they are or what they do or what they identify as or who they have intercourse with. I got enough stuff going on in my house. I have enough problems to take care of here. I don't have time to hate you. I don't have time to hate you. We hate everybody. We hate everybody. We hide behind our political affiliation. We hide behind our religions. We hide behind our morals and our ethics. Have those things. I think those are wonderful. I'm extremely jealous of people who are passionate about something. You all know, you've been watching the channel long enough. I'm extremely jealous about people who have faith, about people who are passionate about their faith. I'm extremely jealous of that. But I'm not jealous of a faith that tells me to hate somebody because of a particular difference, right? I'm not educated in religion, but I do know that in some denominations, being gay in particular is a sin, right? So the folks over here who believe that gay is a sin don't like these people, maybe even hate these people. Well, look, the way I feel about it is, if that's how you feel, I mean, you've got the upper hand. You're going to heaven, and this person over here is going to hell. So leave them alone, I guess. You won. You're going to heaven, they're going to hell. Why should we care, right? I think we're an awful society because we let those differences get in the way of being friends with people, of being kind to people, of sitting next to them and sharing a meal with them or having a conversation with them. We let those differences lead to hate. We let our differences lead to hate. We take stands on things that lead to hate. We cement ourselves down on a position. I'm not budging and I hate everybody who doesn't agree with me. If you're pro this or anti this, I hate you. If you're at that protest and not at this protest, I hate you. If you checked that political party box on your ballot form instead of this one, I hate you. That's who we are today, folks. That's who we are. So I believe that that's why society is so awful these days, because we hate each other. We can't let people just be who they want to be, believe what they want to believe, and still shake their hand and still get to know them and still sit down at a diner and have a nice breakfast with them. We refuse to do that. We eliminate that person based on what they believe, what they don't believe, who they vote for, who they don't vote for, who sleeps in their bed at night, what football team they care about. We disqualify that person if it doesn't match with us. And we're not going to get anywhere with that kind of belief. We're done. We will continue to grow in hate. That's that. Next question from Bale. He says, how come life seemed simple back in the day? Well, stuff. We got too much stuff, says a guy who hoards stuff. But we have too much stuff. We have too many choices. We have too much stuff that overloads our brain, and our brains freak out, and we get stressed and we get anxious, and we're not living a simple life. We're constantly checking our retirement account, our bank account, our food grocery bill. We're constantly trying to figure out which streaming service we're going to use tonight. We're constantly figuring out which iPhone needs to be updated and which one doesn't. PS5 came out. That's great. I can't wait for the PS6. We've just got too much stuff. And stuff leads to things to worry about. Stuff leads to stuff to worry about. Stuff leads to stuff to care about. Stuff leads to stuff to chase. And stuff leads to stuff that contributes to anxiety. And anxiety is ruining us. I think we're exposed to way too much stuff than we ever have been. We are exposed to way too much stuff. We live in the living rooms of people that we don't know. We live in their bedrooms. We live in their kitchens. We live at their jobs. We live in their brains. The internet has brought us into the lives of people that we don't know. I don't need to know 95% of the stuff that's on the internet. I don't need to know about the Kardashians. I don't need to know what Taylor Swift is doing and who she's dating. I don't need to see pictures of Taylor Swift at the Chiefs football game. I don't need to know that some insane gunman just shot up a school in Indiana. I guess we should know that, but you know what? We're overexposed to trauma, we're overexposed to tragedy, we're overexposed to details, and most importantly, we're overexposed to visual images of crisis. And I hate that about the internet. I hate it. I hate the fact that if we wanted to, we could look up a video of a beheading. We could look up pictures of a shotgun suicide if we wanted to. We could learn how to hang ourselves by watching a video of somebody actually hang themselves. We never, ever had access to that kind of poison before. We had simpler brains, we had less stuff, we had less information, we had less exposure, and we saw less trauma. We are exposed to too much trauma. We're exposed to trauma that police officers, firefighters, surgeons, and nurses were allowed to see. Maybe medical examiners too. That's an elite class, folks. The regular people, we weren't supposed to see that stuff. We weren't supposed to be exposed to that stuff. Our brains can't handle it. And it'll never be simple again because stuff continues to reproduce. Stuff continues to make more stuff, and then we want that stuff. I'm just as guilty. I'm stressing about an OLED TV right now. I want to go buy a $1,600 OLED TV, but I don't need an OLED TV. But I'm stressing about it. I'm just as guilty. I had to go out and buy this gigantic truck And guess what? Every single month, I can't stand that $510 payment. I hate it. I hate the truck. I hate my truck. But I had access to it and I had some money, so I bought it, and now I regret it. The fact that stuff reproduces is the reason why we're not going to ever be simple again, right? We're never going to be simple again, unless the world explodes and then all we have to worry about is crop. That's about it. That's when we'll be simple. Our brains are full, folks. We have headaches. We're constantly living with anxiety, constantly living with depression, constantly living with anger. That anger leads to hatred. That anger leads to chasing down somebody who cut us off in traffic and shooting them in front of their children. What, it doesn't happen? Did I just make that up? No, it happens. It happens because we're angry, we're anxious, we're stressed, and we're depressed. And that's why things aren't simple, and that's why we are in the state that we are in now as a society, and the state that we will continue to be in. We will continue to be in this. The solution, shake people's hands, care about them, find out what they're doing today, find out how they're feeling, and then go about your business and leave them alone. Let's just continue the flow of unsubscribers here with question number 6 from Bale. They're numbered, that's why I'm saying question number 6. He says, he says a film that you hate that most people like. Well, I have talked about this before, and I have angered people before. I think a film that the world likes, that the critics like, that the composers of the top 100 greatest films of all time, they like this particular movie. In fact, they put it in the top 3. Well, guess what? I can't stand it. It's a cure for insomnia, and I'm talking about The Godfather, folks. I can't stand The Godfather. It bores me to tears. I'm sure it's a lovely story. I'm sure it's a beautiful movie visually, but I hate The Godfather. I hate it. I used to hate E.T. before I watched it, right? I watched it when I was a little kid, and for some reason it got put into my brain that E.T. is just a depressing, sad movie that I never want to watch with my kids. And then we watched E.T. and we love it. I can't believe I ever thought that I hated E.T. Indiana Jones movies I can't stand. Temple of Doom I like, but the first Indiana Jones is I hate it. I hate it. I hate the first Indiana Jones. I don't like it. I don't watch it. I don't like it. And I've never seen any of the rest. I've never seen any of the rest of the Indiana Jones movies. We'll do this one. Which wrestler should have been given the belt? Well, I'm assuming we're going WWF, right? Now you gotta suspend reality a little bit here, because the WWF was Hogan, and so the names that I'm thinking, they weren't going to be champion under the Hogan regime. That just wasn't going to happen, right? Good guys didn't fight good guys, that sort of thing. But well, see, I was going to say Ricky Steamboat, but then he goes to the NWA and he wins the NWA title, which I think in my little kid brain was more prestigious at the time, maybe. I know it is now. I think it is now, but more prestigious? I don't know. Could we see Ricky Steamboat as WWF champion? You know, again, during the Hogan era? No. You know, so I guess who should have had... So, first of all, I think Don Morocco should have traded it back and forth with Bob Backlund. I think Don Morocco should have had a world title run in 83, maybe 82, 83. Give it back to Backlund, let Sheik come in, do the Hogan thing, fine. But I think Don Morocco should have been a world champion in 82 or 83. So let's think fantasy here. Let's think that Hogan trades it back and forth with someone in 85, 86. Who would that be? Is Piper a candidate for that? Sure, with outside interference, maybe a huge build to WrestleMania 2 or something like that. Orndorff, I guess, could fall into that same category. Outside interference from Piper and Orton lead to a big main event. Hogan regains the title at WrestleMania 2. I don't like the WrestleMania 2 King Kong Bundy main event. We're eliminating that. We're putting WrestleMania 2 in one arena. But can Hogan really lose the belt in mid-85 when it's just skyrocketing with toys and memorabilia and merchandise? Probably not. Probably not. So this is all fantasy because it's not going to happen. There's no way they're taking the belt off of Hogan from 85 to 80, whatever, 88 or 84 to 88. But Piper and Orndorff, I suppose, but as a transitional, not as a transitional champion, but just as a trade-off, Piper wins it in, October 85, big build. Hogan wins it back at WrestleMania 2. Again, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because Hogan is money. It's too much. It's just too much money. It's not going to happen. Other groups, I don't know. I think Magnum TA was probably slotted to win the NWA World title. I think, unfortunately, that probably would have been a 2 or 3 month reign. And then Flair would have got it back. I probably could have seen Nikita Koloff get a 2 or 3 month reign from Flair, have Flair win it back. I think the crowd would have went insane if Nikita Koloff hit Ric Flair with the Russian sickle and got the pin. I think the roof would have blown off. So, that's about it. I'll expand it. We can do Intercontinental. So we got Honky Tonk, we got Savage, we got Steamboat. To be honest with you, WrestleMania's coming up. WrestleMania 1, obviously. I would not have because the Greg the Hammer Valentine Tito Santana feud isn't happening. As kids, I thought they wrestled every day. I thought they were constantly trading the belt back and forth. That's just what it seemed like in my brain. That's not even true. Tito and Valentine are not fighting. I mean, you got WrestleMania, you got Valentine against Junkyard Dog. So, JYD was hot, super hot, in March of 85. Let's have Junkyard Dog defeat Greg Valentine at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental belt. Valentine wins it back 2 months later, and then trades it with Santana again. No harm, no foul. Let's just give JYD a run with the belt. I like it. I like Junkyard Dog as Intercontinental Champion, winning the belt at WrestleMania. Coming up. All right, what else? We'll stop there. I mean, we hit some heavy ones. There is, we'll hit some. We hit some heavy ones today, so we'll stop here and we'll let you digest what I talked about at the beginning of the show. Tomorrow, Monday, is Wrestling with the Past. So tonight I'm going to watch All-Star 330-85 and do Wrestling with the Past. We didn't get to do it yesterday. We did a LJN video yesterday. Tomorrow's Wrestling with the Past, and then Tuesday, Hey Do You Remember? Right back to regularly scheduled programming. I'm currently obsessed with Super Mario 2. I think it's fantastic, and I'm going to go play that now. So that is all. We will see you all next time. Good night now.